Red and orange and yellow and green, sky blue, indigo and violet. Hello again, YouTubers, and welcome to another foray into my own political philosophy, Committalism. First of all, I'd like to thank John Wayne for interacting with my content. I really appreciate it, John. Thank you for your comment. And I'd like to pick up on something that you touched upon. I said in my response that you may have misinterpreted me, and I want to explain why I think that is a little bit further. And thank you for the opportunity. When I say that communism and capitalism is presented as antagonistic, are presented as antagonistic, then that is a falsehood. That is a divisive falsehood, because communism is a representation of the natural socio-political inclination to work in groups and to respond to the needs of others, and capitalism is an exploitation of, similarly, the natural socio-political inclination to be rather individualistic and self-interested. Both things are healthy parts of human life. The way that communism and capitalism are presented as antagonistic somehow and from somewhere, and perhaps probably inadvertently as a cultural inheritance of more superstitious times, with more sort of Gnostic and paranoid veins running through cultural thought and existential approaches about how the forces of light and darkness are fighting eternally and there's never going to be resolution. That idea is flawed, it's false, and the presentation of communism and capitalism as antagonistic, you could say, is evil. But the correction, the pointing out of the relationship, the balance, the interdependence of communism and capitalism is good. It's complete, it's harmonious, it's whole or holistic and representative of the big picture. So that's healthy and good. Whereas the presentation of the binary nature of reality, of night and day, of sun and moon, of fire and water, of active and passive, of yin-yang, if you like, as antagonistic, as in conflict, is unhealthy, is bad, is evil, you could say. And because communism is, as I say, a presentation of, a version of the passive, receptive inclination, the instinct, the sociological instinct, and capitalism rather is more about the private and personal gain, and the fact that both of these things are healthy and natural parts of human life. You want to work as part of a group, but in doing so, you want to be part of a community, but in doing so and in being so, you don't want to relinquish your individualism, your autonomy, your personality, your uniqueness. You don't. And you also want to be spontaneous and unique and wholly yourself. But in doing so and being so, you don't want to become too weird, too idiosyncratic, too cut off and shut off, and too unable to relate to others, because everyone is in the same situation of being an individual among individuals, being a capitalist in a community of capitalists, or a communist in a capital of communists, you might say. And committalism, I present it with my tongue in my cheek somewhat. Committalism is a response to the new social reality of the internet, the new international integration and democratic integration that the internet and internet technologies are increasingly offering everyone on Earth. And it's this statement that the communist and capitalist sham dilemma of endless antagonism, communism versus capitalism, that is going to be increasingly useless and dangerous, more so than it was in the 20th century. And it was dangerous enough in the 20th century, as I think we all realise. And whilst a lot of this is very, very nuanced and subtle and intricate and perhaps apparently meaningless, or even obvious, or maybe both, the more practical bread and butter concerns of committalism would be in response or on reflection of this new international integration offered by computer and internet technologies, is the inquiry into why we do not yet appear to have automatically translated multilingual social media, why we don't have a really global, a really decentralized social media platform, and what kind of a difference to world democracy that sort of a thing might make. Also, the decriminalization of hemp, medical, industrial, nutritional, and diplomatically, recreational and cosmetically. In that order, I think the most important decriminalization process for hemp cannabis will be with regards to the medical applications, then the industrial, because economics and national resources are very important, and nutritional and diplomatic, the recreational and the cosmetic applications. And also the importance of a decentralized currency, the importance of Bitcoin, the importance of the emergence of the decentralized cryptocurrency that is the Bitcoin. So basically, in short, I'd just like to go back to my opener. We are not, committalism is not just suggesting or setting out to suggest that communism versus capitalism is the same as the idea of good and evil, but it plays on the same kind of false antagonism of the forces of light and dark. And if you think about it, the forces of light and dark are, and always were, integral to the universe. The night and the day, the sun and the moon, the stars and the space between the stars. So the idea that light and dark are conflicting forces, one always giving and one always taking away, one always positive and one always negating, is unproductive, it's false, it's superstitious. And the way we seem to have inherited our view, our cultural perceptions of communism and capitalism, communism versus capitalism, seems in some way, perhaps subconsciously so far, to reflect that, to sort of reinvent that false dichotomy, that sham dilemma, with a sort of a Zoroastrian, Manichaean, Gnostic sort of inflection. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks for listening.